Good morning everyone and welcome back to Craft Eccentricity. I do apologise for my absence yesterday. Well, I do and I don't. I was absolutely exhausted, I kid you not. The temperatures here over the weekend just got absolutely stupid and the humidity was awful and it just totally wiped me out, so I do apologise. But I hope everyone had a very peaceful and happy Memorial Day. Anyway, it's still hot and it's still humid, but I've got a bit more energy today. So I'm up with Panalisa and we're going to do this, and this is going to need a little bit of explaining. So first of all, I'm going to be using this paper pack which has all those gorgeous mushrooms in it, and I'm going to be using this die, and this is the one that needs explaining. This does pop-up frame, so it's a double frame and it will pop out of the center of your card. And to go with that, I'm also using that lovely little set of flowers. If I shake that down there, you get 3, so you can layer up 3 or do them singly if you want to. And it also comes with, I'm going to flip that over, you can just about see it there, the sweetest little ladybird. So let's get stuck in. And I have tried to be prepared, and that's always a mistake with me. Yeah. And I'm going to show you my error. The error of my ways. Yeah, I am. Right, you're going to need a card. So you're going to need 8 1/4 by 6 inches. This is me being imperial. And you need to score that in half so that your finished card will be 4 and a tiddly bit at 6 inches. How's that? So that's what you're aiming for. So you can see I've used a piece of that paper which comes as an A4 size, I think it is, and I just trimmed it off just to fit on there. And then here's my error. This is where I went wrong, right here. Thankfully the paper design hides it, but I was so excited about sticking that in there that when I folded it over and scored it, I creased my paper. But because it's kind of vintage looking, yeah, you know, it kind of goes in with all the drips and bits and stuff. I think you can forgive me for that one. So that's the inside of the card. Now, you know me, I don't normally do opening cards, I do easel cards. So that is the front, that is the inner, and that is using that paper pack from Panalisa. So once again, 8 1/4 by 6 inches. Right, so I showed you that, and now I'm going to move it. Yeah, feeling all confident again now. Right, that die, I'm going to smooth out what I've got in my hands first of all, because that die is going to cut out this. I'm going to try and get it all in, but what it doesn't do is it doesn't cut here and it doesn't cut up here, it scores it. So you will have to cut out the whole, should we call it a rectangle that has 2 squares in it. So you cut that out and then you get your scissors, I'm going to show slowly so that you can freeze it, and you cut up from all the way along there up to the base of what would be your frame, and then at your top piece you cut in there to the what would be the top of your frame. So I want to show you that. So when you get it and it comes out in a whole piece and it's just embossed all the way up, I want you to know that you get your scissors and you must cut that bit there. So I'm just showing it slowly again. So that's what it should look like. And then you've got all of your embossed marks, your score lines, and you just fold onto all of those. You want your frame to fold inwards, so put your score line and then use your bone folder and do that one. That bit's going to go over to there, this bit's going to lift here, those bits will tuck in because you want it to look nice and tidy, so that what you will end up with, as you can see there, is what looks like a long box with splits in it. So it's going to be able to do that. Right, I hope in my, you know, the way that I explain things, you fully understood that. But if you didn't, I apologise. Right, so the first thing that I want to do is find the centre points here, because you also get other frames and bits and pieces. And from that same pack, I've got myself a little fairy house and some mushrooms, and they're going to be like the scenery in the background of my frame. And when you glue those in, you've just got to centre them, you know, within your score lines. And then for the outside, in a different shade of that sage green, I was quite fortunate to have a scrap of that left. I've done the little scallop frame, which will go on the edge like that, so you get to see your little house and whatnot through it. And I hope my camera isn't blurred. Yeah, right, so first of all I am going to glue those pieces down, so I just want to flatten that out again so that I'm at least doing it straight. Yeah, we don't want any more creases in our paper, so I hope that you can see. And I'm just going to go down with a little bit of glue, and I'm going to stick that in. As I said, use your score lines as your guide and just try and get it in as straight as you can. I'm looking at my score lines there, and I don't think that's perfectly straight, so I'm just going to play with it for a minute. And I'm going to go there. You're not really going to see the edge on this anyway, even though it's a pretty scallop, but you could certainly use it for layering on the back if you wanted to, and then you would most certainly see the scallop. So I want to do the same here, kind of, you know, just roughly gauging my edges. I'm going to go there, because they look to be similar height, so they're stuck in there, so that when that is glued and closed up, that is the vision that you'll get. Do you see that? That lovely little fairy house and mushrooms. Right, the next thing we need to do is we need to glue our frames on. So I'll just grab the first one. And I'm going to try and line that up. I want to get it as straight as possible. And I think that's it. And we'll give that a press. So that's your little fancy bit of outside. Now if you wanted to cut your frame in pattern cardstock, you could totally do that, and that would look great as well. You could have it, you know, all solid within the theme, especially if you've got several sheets of the same cardstock. And something like this is also going to look great on a journal page. Now, I hope I got that one on straight. I think I did. But I am taking my time just in case, you know, you want to pause this and go back and look at it. Right, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to glue these bits over. So I'm trying not to use too much glue so that I can get an instant grab. Make sure that you're getting them on straight. Put my finger in there and give it a press. So that's the first one done. I hope you can see that. So we've got a little tunnel. Yeah, these will look absolutely great in a little mini journal. Just popping out at you. And of course that means you can do them in whatever style you want to. You could even put acetate into the window area, or vellum. I haven't got that on straight, so I'm going to slide that down. There we go. I'm just going to let that dry for a second and I'll be right back. Right, so that is suitably dry, and as you can see, what you end up with is those little, you know, frames. That's how it should look. So that should be like that towards you, and it should be like that on top, and it should be able to do that. Isn't that cute? I like that. Yes, right, now to that little flower set where you get 3 little flowers, which can layer up, but because this is going to close inside of a card, I've made the executive decision, yeah, that I'm going to put these here, and I'm going to have a single one, and I've cut 2 little centers, and I've got 2 teeny weeny ladybirds which are absolutely adorable, and they come like this with their little bits, and that is going to glue on top of there. So I've done 2 of those, and you also get a set of leaves which are kind of opposites, so it's entirely up to you whether you wanted to go on the outside like that, or even if you wanted to tuck them on the inside and build up layers just like that. In fact, I think I will take my leaf onto the inside. Yeah, I like that. So I'm going to need some glue, and I'm going to have to finagle it. So I want a little bit on that stem. I'm going to go there. I'm going to go there. Whether that's in the right or wrong place at the moment, I am not entirely sure. But I want to be able to see it, so I'm hoping that I can touch there. Yeah, I mean, if that bit's dangling free, that's okay. I'm just going to wipe my glue off it. So now we've got a nice little foliage bit, and that will set. And that piece of that bit of glue that you can see there is going to dry clear. And then you got one on the inside. It might be nice to have one, you know, just on the outside, so it's looking a bit different. Yeah, we'll get our bits and pieces looking different. So I'm going to have a bit there, bit there, bit there, bit there, and a little bit there. Get rid of that. And I want it to remain within the frame, because you've got to remember that if you start going outside of your frame, you've got to make your card bigger, because the whole point of this is that it pops up as a surprise and that you shouldn't see anything hanging out. So we'll have a quick lift up for that now. Let's get close. So we've got leaf on the outside and we've got leaf on the inside. And you can see my glue is still wet. Right, now we've got a flower. So once again, working within the limits of your frame. I think I'm going to go on the outside there. Yeah, and this is a really easy flower just to put together. So I'm going to go there. And then I'm going to get a little centre. And then I think I'm going to build up that little gap that I've got between this leaf and flower with the ladybird for that side. So once again, you want to be within your frame. Now I'm going to smear glue on this because I'm not sure which portion is going to be gluing. Now I've got to get my glue here. Right, so I'm there. And that will hold firmly when it's all done. And then we've got to glue a tiny little ladybird, and then I'm going to run off and just glue the other little ladybird. So I'm going to go a little dot of glue here. Whoops. And then I have my pickup tool. I'm organised, yeah. I'm just going to pick that up and I'm going to pop it onto there. And then I'm going to get my excess glue out of it. And then I want my ladybird up here, so I'm going to have a little blob of glue. Right, so while all that little bit is drying, I'm just going to make this other ladybird up and I will be right back. Okay, so now we've got that bit. Let's get in close there. We've got our little daisy and our ladybug, and we've got our bit of foliage on the inside. If you think about how that is going to close now, it's going to go over to there. So that means I am going to put this daisy here, because that one closes over to this side, and I'm going to have a ladybird here, I think. I mean, I could have one there. I could even do it there. I think I might put it up there, but I'm definitely having that little flower there. So that's what I'm going to do. So make sure you don't go into your crease line, because that's got to be able to close on it. So, you know, stay outside of that line. And then I've got my little ladybug. I'm trying to think where I want it. I suppose if I use my pickup tool. It's such a sweet little thing. I'm going to have it there. Yeah, maybe I should have cut another one actually. They could have looked like they were walking around the frame edge. So a nice little blob of glue there. Whoops. Pick that up with my pickup tool. Staying within my frame and my border once again. You want to know that you can close it. There we go. I'm going to let that dry and I'll be right back. Right, these are dry enough to start assembling the card now. So there's your little close-up of your little fairy house and your mushrooms. Sorry about my fingers in there, yeah. And you're going to need to squish it down at the base now. So you want to go down like that, so that these bits are popped up here. Now that's my humidity. If you see any waving in the card, I do apologise, but it is absolutely my humidity. I'm going to get rid of my little bits of fluff there. I've got some dry glue. And you want to be able to fold it in half. Now where you've got your score lines, this is the bottom of your card, that is where your glue is going to go, okay? So you don't want to put it in there upside down. No, you don't. So we bring the card over, and I'm opening it out, and you're going to have to line up one edge with the fold. You want to be able to fold the card, and you want it within the border of the card. So we're going to go as high up there as we possibly can. I'm going to stick within the cut sections of my paper, because you're going to put glue on that bottom edge and it needs to close up, and you don't want anything hanging out at all. So now that I know where I'm going to go with that, we're going to glue it, and then we're going to come back and open it. Yes, we are. So your score line there at the bottom, you want glue there. And I am putting a fair amount on because you want it to stick, staying within that border. And then try and get it as centre as you possibly can. I'm going to go there, and then I'm going to close it. Right, I will see you in a minute. Right, so I'm hoping and praying that it's dry, but if you look at the design of this paper, you've got this great area up here for a happy birthday or hello or whatever you want to put up there. Now, let's see if it worked. Ooh, yikes. Did my glue dry? Yeah, it did. And there it is. Isn't that great? It just stands up in there. Let's have a look. Isn't that pretty? But in any style that you wanted to do it, and it will just close up. So if you want to put it in a mini album or a journal, as long as you can get, you know, your 4 Your 4-inch page, yeah, it would fit on a 4-inch. You might have a little bit hanging out. You want to go a little bit larger than 4 inches for this. But if it would fit on that, then it's going to look great in a little mini album or a journal. Yeah, I enjoyed that, and I'm glad I got some energy back. But I'll tell you what, before I forget, I'm actually at the hospital tomorrow, so I am going to be back on Thursday. But I do thank you so much for joining me today, and as usual, all links below. Have a wonderful day. Bye.